welcome back to the David67 Celtic News channel. I'm going to do a little update video today to reflect on a few pieces of news cropping up and bubbling under at Celtic, as it has been rather a quiet news week so far. Before we crack on with the video, a wee reminder, if you could, and if you haven't already, to click that subscribe button. Also, always happy to see comments and opinions in the comment section. Wonderful if you could click the like button for the video and also pass on details of the channel to other folk you think might be interested in a slightly alternative Celtic fan site and opinion site. Main news around Celtic cropping up overnight has been that Celtic are said to be heavily scouting and very interested in a 24-year-old wide left player from Japan, Kanji Okunuki, currently playing in the second division of the Bundesliga in Germany for Nuremberg. He has a career record of 22 goals, 9 assists in 139 games. So not the most impressive of career stats. However, he has, so far this season in 15 games for Nuremberg, scored 4 goals and 2 assists, so is playing relatively well in the German second division. He was signed in the summer by Nuremberg for around £300,000 to £400,000 and is thought to be available for somewhere in the region of £1 million. Having had a wee look at him on scouting sites and scouting reels, he appears to be primarily a left-sided attacker in the mould of Palma, Maeda, Jota, etc. He is able to play through the middle as a striker and also can play centrally as an attacking midfield, and so he would cover a number of Celtic positions. However, given that we fully expect that Maeda and Abada will be back to full fitness late 2023, early 2024, and that we also have Palma, Yang and Tilio, all very young players on long-term options, I personally don't feel that Okunuki is an option for Celtic, especially as he is on the verge of being called back up by Japan for the Asian Cup in 2024. And as I'm sure you're all aware, Celtic potentially could have at least 6 players away on duty, with 3 Japanese and 2 Korean and 1 Australian, all very likely, assuming that they're fit, to be called up for the Japan, South Korea and Australia squads. This obviously would leave quite a massive hole in Celtic's first team, as that would mean we're missing O, Yang, Tilio, Hatate, Kyogo and Maeda, although the fact that Maeda and Hatate are coming back off injury probably means the Japanese manager wouldn't risk them. Although quite often for the Asian Cup, the big teams request that their players aren't called up for the Asian Cup, something that Brendan Rodgers says he doesn't intend on doing. And so it may be that a few of the Japanese fringe players from other clubs are called up instead. Also, there is the small potential that Kwon may be called up by South Korea, and Iwata and Kobayashi also have been on the fringes of Japanese international squads. And apparently the Japanese international manager has been a great admirer of Yuki Kobayashi, although Kobayashi's form in Scotland hasn't been really setting the heather on fire. The main factor that's also of concern at Celtic at the moment is there seems to be very much heightened interest in signing Matt O'Reilly in the winter transfer window, or at least in the summer transfer window of 2024. There are a number of very much top English Premier League clubs. Liverpool, Arsenal, Newcastle, Man United, all said to be interested in O'Reilly, all scouting him at the moment, and also Borussia Dortmund, Wolfsburg, and Lille all have been scouting him. And I think the attraction of playing in the Bundesliga or the English Premier League would be too much for O'Reilly to resist, as this would be a stepping up in the prestige of the league, and also I think would very much put him centre to the Danish team manager, who at the moment seems a little bit reluctant to use O'Reilly in his team, possibly because he feels that the standard of football at Celtic isn't as strong as it is in English, German, Dutch football, etc. It would be very sad to see Matt O'Reilly go. However, I think the 25 to 30 million pounds we would get for transfer fee would be very, very useful. We do have a number of players who can step into his role, such as Holm and Bernardo. And so may not be quite so dramatic, and would certainly give Celtic a lot of money for their transfer coffer to see if they can find a player who can immediately step into the side as a starter in the winter window or the next summer window, ready for our Champions League campaign of 24-25. Few names also being linked with coming to Celtic to play as an additional striker, none of whom I think are Celtic players. Jamie Vardy, who is 35, currently playing for Leicester City, and certainly has a great record in England, 209 goals in 484 matches, has played for England internationally, and was the main player that led them to their English Premier League success a number of years ago, and of course is known to Brendan Rodgers after Rodgers' time at Leicester. Personally, I think Jamie Vardy's best days are in the past. I think he's very much a signing such as Dion Dublin, Carlton Cole, Roy Keane, Ian Wright, all passed the best when they came to Celtic, weren't really the least bit successful at Celtic and very quickly moved on. I don't see Vardy as being an option for Celtic at his age, and his form and success does seem to be tailing off this season and last. Other players being linked are Bojan Miovski, who had a very good season for Aberdeen last year, not quite so good this season. And the other player who may be a bit of a better option, Lawrence Shankland, the current Hearts captain, has had a couple of successful seasons in the Scottish Premier League, does score on a regular basis for Hearts. I think he's a player a la Scott McDonald or Lee Griffiths, who can certainly score goals for Celtic in the Scottish Premier League, but don't think he's quite a player of the necessary quality to score in Europe. Personally, I would go for one of the players that were heavily scouted last summer and are continuing to be scouted by the club, of Sidney van Hooijdonk at Bologna, and the most likely being Matthias Kiesgarten, the young Danish striker who has been a big success for Brøndby the last couple of seasons and has also been a success in Danish under-21 football. He apparently was very close to coming to Celtic in the summer transfer window, and as I said in the previous video, I think he's got a wee bit of the Henrik Larssons about him, quite a stocky player, able to hold the ball up, able to beat people with pace, strong in the tackle, tons of energy, very good finisher, and for a relatively short man, is also good in the air. I think he would be a very good player to back up Kyogo and Ole, and I think also would be a player capable, if he continues to progress as he has done, to be a success in European football for the club also. And I personally would be delighted to see him sign. And as I said, there are a few videos, including one with scouting footage of Keith's Garden available in the back catalogue of the David 67 channel. A couple more wee things to update on. Apparently, there is a Celtic 11 playing tonight at Dundee, 7:45 kickoff. It is a testimonial for one of Dundee's players. It's at Dens Park, as I said, at 7:45, and apparently tickets are available online prior to the game, but also the ticket office will remain open right up until kickoff. And so, if there are any Celtic fans within easy distance of the Dens Park in Dundee, they could pop along and see a Celtic 11. It's not fully clear just who will be playing for Celtic. I would guess that it's going to be a mixture of the B team players who are not away on under 17 and under 19 duty, and the squad players who are struggling for match time, such as Kobayashi, Iwata, Kwon, etc. Marco Tilio would have been an obvious candidate to play tonight. However, he is away playing for Australia in Saudi Arabia in a couple of friendly matches in this international break. Final bit of news is the Celtic women's side have been drawn against Rangers in the semi-final of the Women's Scottish League Cup. The game will be played at either Excelsior Stadium, most likely, but may be played at Celtic Park if ticket sales are strong in advance, and will be on the weekend of the 19th to the 21st of January 2024, depending on which of the TV channels wants to cover the semi-final. I think Celtic, being at home, will go into the game full of confidence against Rangers women, and I think it's very similar to the Scottish Cup semi-final last year for Celtic and Rangers, where the winner was almost certain to win the final, as Celtic did go on to do 3-1 against Inverness Cali Thistle last May. Rangers women are the current Scottish League Cup holders, having beaten Hibs last year. Celtic are the current Scottish Women's FA Cup holders, having beaten Rangers in last year's final. And so I think the game is going to be a great game when it comes next January. And I think the two teams will go into it very equally matched, depending on injuries and form. Finally, there may well be a couple of Celtic players starting for Scotland tonight in their match in Georgia, which is on TV at 5 p.m. on Viaplay. McGregor is likely to start both against Georgia tonight and against Norway at the weekend, and would guess that Greg Taylor will be the number one candidate to start at left back / left wing back, given the injury crisis Scotland have with their fullbacks. Tony Ralston's also in the squad and may well see some time coming off the bench either tonight against Georgia or at the weekend against Norway. I think McGregor and Taylor are very, very likely to play. Steve Clarke, the Scotland manager, wants to put the best team out to try and get as many points as he can from these last two games to help with seeding and pot and position in the table in preparation for next year's European Championships. So that finishes things off for today. We'll do another video in a day or two's time, depending on what's cropping up in terms of Celtic related news. I'll carry on doing a daily trivia question related to Celtic. And also, as I said, I'm looking to create one or two other different sorts of content over the next week or two for future use. Finally, just a wee reminder, if you haven't already, do subscribe to the channel. Pop a wee tick in the like for this video. Feel free to pop comments and opinions in the comment section. I'm always very delighted to respond, reply, discuss anything other folk want to put up, and also will happily look to see whether I can cover any other details, and I also will put a link to the Okunuki scouting video, which comes from a Polish YouTube channel. Haven't included any clips from that scouting video for copyright reasons, but hopefully there is a link that you can access through the description of this video. Plus, also you can pop obviously the name of Kanji Okunuki into the search bar for YouTube, and it will show you three or so available videos about him. So for today, thanks for listening, thanks for watching, goodbye, and hail, hail.